Oh boy, I'm kind of excited to make this video. Today we're talking about a lens, a really nice, really wide lens, the Loawa 12mm. Let's get into it. How's it going, folks? Mark Moody here, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Vlog. And today is a Friday. It was a pretty nonchalant, very chill day. Didn't do much. Went on a hike with a friend, checked out a waterfall, and now I've been working on pictures all afternoon. But enough about my day today. We need to talk about this lens, the Loawa 12mm f280D or zero distortion lens. I bought this lens early this week. I told you guys about it. Picked it up on Monday. Bought it brand spanking new with the purpose of using this guy for real estate photography. I felt as though my 16-35 just really wasn't cutting it for me in real estate, and I always toyed around with the idea of buying this lens. I actually toyed around with it for months now, and then I finally got around to it because I was getting ready to do a house that had really big rooms and it had a lot of stuff going on in the house, and so I needed a lens that was going to be able to handle this property properly. And sure enough, this lens delivered. Oh my gosh, it is great. And yesterday I originally was gonna do a vlog kind of using this lens and what it was like my very first time using it, but instead I kind of got sidetracked and I got very into the work that I was doing, and I kind of just wanted to do the property and focus on that and not get tied up in the vlog. So instead I wanted to wait until today when I started going through stuff to give my opinions and my first impressions on using this lens for real estate photography and videography. So far, after going through some of the pictures that I've taken with this lens, the first word that comes to mind, other than wide, is sharp. This lens is practically tack sharp. It is unfreaking believable. And that's not even to say that it's tack sharp at 2.8, because it is fairly sharp at 2.8. But shooting these pictures at like f8 or f11, those puppies are sharp. It is ridiculous. And what's nuts is that I knew that going into this. I knew that way before I even started looking at these pictures, for one simple reason. Because this is a manual focus lens, you have to focus manually with this. So I use the focus peaking on my Canon R, and in order to tell if stuff is really nice and in focus, I basically will zoom in on certain parts of the image to check and make sure that they are in focus, and by golly, they were in focus, and they were sharp too, and I could see that so clearly, and I just couldn't believe it. And that was something that I never experienced using the 16-35. The Canon 16-35, we're talking about the Mark II specifically, because that's the one that I use. It tends to be fairly soft, and every time that I would kind of zoom in to check on certain features of the image to see if they were sharp, they were a little soft, but I knew I could fix that in post because you're shooting in RAW and flexibility and whatever. But bottom line, right out of the camera, the images are not as sharp as you want them to be, and that's even if you're shooting at f8 or f11. On the Loawa, they were sharp right out of the camera, which was awesome. On top of that, this lens is wide as shit. Oh my gosh. One of the biggest rooms in this property that pushed me to really want to buy this lens, to really make it necessary, was the foyer. Right when you walk into this house, you're greeted by a massive room with a 15 to 20 foot ceiling with a nice big old chandelier up top and a big wide space. The staircase basically winds up and around, and the foyer is just huge. And I knew that even standing back in the corner, even standing back in the other room with the 16-35, I really couldn't capture this space. I knew that this was a wide enough space, and the realtor really wanted to show that off. My 16-35 couldn't help me capture that. But when I got there and I slapped the Loawa on, and when I started doing my thing, this lens managed to capture that. And on top of it being nice and sharp, on top of it being nice and wide, I really got a nice image coming straight out of the camera with this lens. Now, the other great thing about these pictures is that there is no distortion whatsoever in these photographs, which is huge. 0D, zero distortion, which is awesome because you don't want your rooms to look distorted. You don't want weird bowing on the corners or on the sides. One of the biggest things about this was using it to shoot outside of the house, and really there's no distortion at all. Normally if I shoot something like this with a 16-35, the house is kind of, at a weird angle, and it almost looks a little foreboding, like the cover art for that Disney movie Tower of Terror. But with this lens, there was practically none of that. There was no distortion, if any at all. And that was great. Now, the last thing that I want to mention was using this guy for video. I actually did the video of the house with this lens before I did the pictures, which is kind of weird because normally it's the other way around. But anywho, using this lens for video was actually not that bad. Normally, I'm not using autofocus for the video, even though I do keep it on here. Normally, I'll switch to manual focus in case the lens will continuously switch focus to something else and lose focus in a room. I'll just keep it on manual, set the focus where I know I want it to be, and then just go from there. With this guy, I really didn't change the focus past like 3 meters, almost to infinity, and that kept everything pretty much nice and in focus because I'm shooting these wide shots with the rooms. I'm shooting all these big wide angle things where I need everything to pretty much be in focus. And because this isn't an autofocus lens, there was no hunting, there was no focusing issues. Really, I don't even think I changed the focus at all. Now, I haven't really gone through the video like I've gone through the pictures per se. When it comes to the image quality, there's nothing too crazy going on other than the fact that it's wide, there's no distortion, there's no weird softness in the corners. I don't notice a huge difference in the image quality between the 16 or 35 and the Loawa. If anything, the wider field of view is a dead giveaway. Once again, I can't exactly speak too much on the video because I still have not really gone through it. It looks just fine. It looks like that this lens handled itself super well in both photo and video, and since then I've actually used it for a couple other shoots. I took it out with me to the point yesterday and shot a couple landscape shots, and so far this lens absolutely crushes it. For real estate photography, this thing is absolutely awesome, and I'm more than happy and more than confident that I made the right decision in adding this to my kit. The Loawa 12mm f2.8 distortion. Mwah. Super happy that I got it, and I cannot wait to keep using this thing. So before I end this video, and I probably should have mentioned this at the beginning, this is not a super deep comprehensive review of this lens. Yesterday was my first time using this lens, and I really think it served its purpose, and I really can't wait to keep using this thing. And I still do have a little bit of content. I still do have a couple more things to go through on this lens, but bottom line, awesome lens. Super glad that I bought it, and what can I say? I really can't wait to keep using it. So I want to know what you guys think. Are you a real estate photographer, videographer? Are you interested in getting into real estate photography or videography? Are you looking for a lens? What questions do you guys have? Do you use this lens? I want to know what you guys think. I want to know what questions you have, or I want to know what experiences you may have with this lens. Let's get a conversation going. That sounds kind of stupid, but I would love to know what you guys think. I would love to know your thoughts and opinions. So with that being said, that is it for this video. Really hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.